Hey everybody, Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies, and welcome to our podcast, which is called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
That's right, and welcome to another episode. And this episode is another one of our 48 unit episodes, and this one is on due diligence.
Yes, so we did one yesterday, and we talked about the fact that these podcasts are meant to share information and education and mindset and all kinds of different things. They're also daily because it's meant to bring you on the journey with us. So sometimes when we're able to teach you something and have it apply to something we're working on right now, it's that much more effective because you get to see it in the works.
Right.
So yesterday, we talked about having our property manager interview.
Yes.
And everything that happened in that conversation.
That was a long episode.
It was, sorry. That is going to happen when we're trying to teach you something and share like how we did it. It's going to get a little bit longer than our typical 8-minute, 6-minute on average podcast. But today we're talking about due diligence. This is the checklist that we have that whenever we're buying a property and we've actually submitted the LOI, it's been accepted, we've gone to contract. This is when we break open the due diligence checklist and we start going tick, 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 and we go through every single step. And either say it's not applicable for this property, or we make sure that we get it done. And this is something we talked about yesterday that the property manager for the other unit, and we've been asking her for a lot of documents. Della has been a superstar. This is her first deal with FCI. That she's gone and she's learning multifamily, so she's learning all the things that has to happen. And she's just been a rock star getting all of this information. In fact, we're using the sheets that the checklist that we duplicated for this particular one, and she would cross things off. She would add links to where the files are. She would answer the questions if it's a question. Shout out to Della there.
And just to let you know that this checklist was actually empty. There was nothing on it. And so when we started our first apartment, and we keep adding more things to it. So it's a living document.
Yes.
Now it's 3 pages. And I'm sure the next time it'll be 4 pages. So there's always something that we're going to miss or find out about. And we're like, oh, we need to add that to the due diligence.
Exactly. So something our property manager, the property manager for the 48 unit that we're buying said on the call yesterday was just like, you guys are the most thorough people we have ever worked with. Nobody asked for all this information. And I think that's really, really important to note. Number one, you take notes on what the things that we're going to be talking about here in this episode, because it's really important. If you're buying something or if you're vetting another sponsor or somebody that you're working with, you want to know that they're actually doing what they should be doing so that they don't learn something 6 months down the road that becomes a big issue that you then have to deal with. You want to deal with it up front, and potentially if it's going to be a cost item, you want to be able to negotiate it while it's still under contract and not already closed.
And this is also very, very key to thanking our masterminds, because we get a lot of this from our masterminds.
Yes, we do.
And one thing that this due diligence report will reveal who are the real people in these, because if you ask these questions and they're like, I don't know. Yeah. Well, then we don't want to work with you.
That's right. That's why experience matters, right? When we're vetting other operators for us to work with, we're asking them about their experience.
Tough questions.
If you've had, say, 10 years of experience in real estate, you very likely have checklists like these, because how did you get this far without being that organized? Yep. So anyways, we're going to go through just a bunch of them. We might not hit every single one because it is supposed to be a short podcast, but
welcome.
I'll let you start with some of the things that Della's got crossed off here.
Yeah, so rent roll for the last 6 months at least, copy of all current leases and service contracts, operating statements, occupancy reports, for the last 12 months, utility, insurance, tax bills, any litigation against the unit or against the seller, but mainly against the property. Engineering, soil, seismic, appraisal, environmental, those are all very good. A lot of people will overlook that. Yep. Zoning, making sure that everything is still going in the right direction. Capital improvements, any existing title policy or a survey of the property, monthly operating income and expenses for the last 3 years. If you can get the last 3 years, then you're dealing with somebody very incredible. I mean, we couldn't even get 3 months out of our last guy.
That's true.
And copies of all existing leases. That's, as silly as you might think, that's not always something that we get
Yes, yeah, especially the last one, right? There weren't even leases on some of them. I will back up and just tell you, so we had an hour-long meeting with Della yesterday to go through this list, see what questions she had. And there were some questions that came up, such as list of the recent capital improvements, any property condition reports which may have been completed by the seller in the past 3 years. So when she asked about this and why that was something that we needed, I said, well, because you always want to trust but verify.
Yeah.
Right? So if he says, I replaced 12 HVAC units, I replaced this, I replaced this roof, and you're negotiating based on that information, when you walk the property, it's a good idea to double check. He's actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go in not trusting people. So I'm very trustworthy. I always trust people up front. But I have learned to verify what they are saying because it's not always their fault that they're giving you wrong information. They could have thought something was done and someone dropped the ball and never let them know. So it's just learning all of that type of stuff. Also, insurance claims for this particular one. There was one insurance claim in the last couple of years. It didn't get approved. The seller ended up having to replace the roof on his own. So that was another thing that was asked. I was trying to see if there was any other conversations real quick to go over. But okay. So where I think you left off at leases, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So some other things are copies of rules and regulations that are given to the tenants. Utility bills for the most recent 12 months. There was a really high water bill that we noticed and asked the property manager about. She goes, yeah, we saw that come through. And we went to the property and it turns out that like a toilet was running or something like that. And so they went and fixed it. So we wanted to know, why did it happen? Performance, right? We want to ask the property manager, do you know what happened and what did you do about it?
Right.
So they did, and they fixed it. So that spoke volumes to them. Real estate tax bills for the last 3 years, certificate of occupancy, any list of actions involving the property or seller which are currently pending or ongoing within the last 12 months. Della did ask about this, and I simply explained it could mean anything. Ultimately, you just want to know absolutely everything that might be pending on the property. Is there a contractor that was doing some work that hasn't done some work and might come back and ask us to get paid? Do we need to see those releases? Do we need to take over something that has not been done? What do you have in the works that you are going to pause because we're getting ready to close on this property and you're going to stop it and we're going to continue it? Is that something that we discussed at the very beginning or need to talk about? It could be absolutely anything that is just currently in their pending environment, and the seller you need to talk to about this, the property manager you need to talk about this, so that you can get all the information and make sure you're going through those steps, if there's any steps. I'll let you go ahead and continue.
Yeah, because just for the fact that once you close, a week later, a tenant can come up and say, "Oh, well, no, the previous owner said I could do this."
Yeah.
So this is a CYA. Making sure that you have everything.
Yes.
Let's see, your complete list of warranties to make sure you have all the warranties on bank statements for the last 6 months. Delinquency report. I think we already talked about that.
Yep.
Making sure if it's in a flood zone. Thankfully, this one is not. I don't think that's possible for this one to be because it's on the top of a hill. Copies of all service contracts. Making sure that with the title commitment, any current fee and security deposit schedules. Security deposit detail report, making sure finding out, because somebody will say, "Oh no, I paid full security deposit," and find out they only paid $100.
Yeah, and this was actually something we talked about too. And I said, Della, when you're looking at all of these things, I want you to take the leases, and if it says X deposit here, so let's just say $700 deposit here on the lease, you want to make sure the property management ledger says the exact same number, right? And you want to correlate those. If there's any discrepancies at all, then you want to create a list of all inconsistencies, because we want to have something signed by the resident prior to close stating which number is factual.
Yep. Yeah, very, very key, because again, they'll go to move out and say, "Oh no, I paid my full security deposit." Let's see, payroll ledger, 3-year loss insurance, claim history, maintenance records for equipment property, check with the police department for any building activity to see how bad the neighborhood is, if it is, or if there's any action there, and if there's any code violations or any outstanding issues.
Yeah. So that was just the very first part of our due diligence list. We still have a physical due diligence and a financial due diligence on this that we won't go into, but you get the idea, right? Is a very thorough detail of all the things that you want to be double checking to make sure that the information that you received when you underwrote underwrote the deal and decided it was a good deal is actually accurate going in before you close.
Yeah, because there's so many variables.
Yes. So
everywhere
again,
you turn.
Make sure you took good notes. If this is something that's important to you, make sure you're vetting the people that you're working with to make sure that they're doing this so that they don't find out there's a hiccup 6 months down the road. Because ultimately, if you're a passive investor with somebody who's not doing a good job with their due diligence, then it affects the overall performance of the property. So that's why we are so thorough and detailed in everything that we do.
And again, this is another long-winded episode, but we hope that you're getting all the benefit out of these episodes.
Yes.
Make sure you're heading down to our website, freedomcapitalinvestments.com, and joining our
Investor Club.
Make sure you're heading out to all the any of the social media groups, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Golly, we're everywhere. YouTube. Make sure you're checking us out, and then also on any of the podcast mediums as well, platforms.
Yes.
But we like to end all of our episodes with
invest smart,
live happy.
Bye everybody.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss, y'all.